What's cracking, everybody? Okay, so obviously B-Comp isn't here, and hopefully the camera angle looks decent because she usually sets that up each time. But yeah, we're going to pick up where we left off, basically from last episode that we released earlier in the week, where we talked about some potential matchmaking that the UFC could do for each of the winners on the main card of UFC 272. We were going to do the Santos versus Ankalaev preview on that same episode, but we decided since it was at 30 minutes and we felt that was a pretty decent time, we just decided to cut off, and then I'm just going to make this episode. But yeah, dude, going through the card for this one, I knew Santos and Ankalaev were, because I've been gone for like the past like week and a half, kind of, and then really focusing on school because I had to get a bunch of work done early so I could go spend spring break with my friends. It wasn't my spring break, it was theirs, so I had to get a bunch of work done early so I wasn't behind or whatever, so I didn't get behind. But UFC and sports kind of took a little bit of a back seat there for a second, but I was still following the fights closely. I watched the main card of UFC 272, and actually before I filmed the episode with Bianca for our most recent episode, I rewatched most of the fights on the undercard. But yeah, going through this one, it's an absolute stellar fight card, dude. And like I said, I knew Ankalaev and Santos were going to bang it out, but I didn't realize some of the fights that are on it's pound for pound one of the better cards we've seen this year. I know there hasn't obviously been a ton of events, but I mean, we're kicking off Guido Canetti versus Chris Moutinho. The absolute legends of the sport are going to be the second fight on the card, and they're going to kick off the night with a bang. And in my opinion, I wrote this down in my trusty notes that I'm probably barely going to refer to as I get so sidetracked, but I honestly believe this is going to be, if we're not careful here, if some of the other fights are duds, we're going to be looking at fight of the night here, because I know that some of the cards that are technically like on them that aren't prelims, I mean some of the fights that aren't prelims, there's some bangers there, but in terms of all around guaranteed fireworks, you can't look any further than Guido Canetti versus Chris Moutinho. Both of them can eat shots, both of them can put you down. Hella volume, good cardio, like extremely powerful, like I don't know. I'm just really excited to see how Chris Moutinho does, considering he had such a tough test in his UFC debut against Sean O'Malley. And then I was super impressed with how Guido fought in his last fight against Manny Martinez, despite being 42 years old. He looks fantastic for 42. I want to say in his last few fights, he's fought, who was it? Dana Bakary, who's got absolute concrete packed into his fists. And then he lost to Marlon Vera, and then he lost a split decision to Manny Martinez. He lost all his last three fights, but that resume is insane. He's fighting absolute studs in the most stacked division in all of mixed martial arts, and no matter what promotion you're looking at. But like, it's gonna be fun. I'm looking for a split decision absolute banger. I don't think anybody's gonna get finished, just considering how tough they are. I think we're going to see all aspects of MMA in this fight, because I can see it going to the ground. I really believe somebody's going to get dropped. It's going to go to the ground. There's going to be fun scrambles. There's going to be fun, fast exchanges in the pocket. And yeah, this is my pick. This is my fight, my personal favorite fight on the fight card. It stood out to me amongst a bunch of other bangers. But I guess let's just start off the episode, though. Now that that's out of the way, let's start off the episode with kind of the light heavyweight picture, and then I guess just the implications that this fight holds. So we're going to start from the bottom and go to the top. But Ankalaev versus Santos. I mean, Thiago Santos, he's been on kind of a skid lately, but he got that dub over Johnny Walker, and then Magomed, as I don't know. In my opinion, like I've said in prior podcasts, he is the best light heavyweight in the UFC, and I believe best light heavyweight walking the face of the planet, just given the fact that he can move like a middleweight, move like a welterweight. He's got great stand-up, and then what are you going to do, take him down? No, I don't think so. And then if somehow he does get into the ground, you think you're going to hold that a 6'3" Dagestani man, or what does he fight at, Makachkala or whatever, Russia? You're not holding that man on the ground for very long, okay? And so that's why I believe he's the most well-rounded light heavyweight in the world. And am I crazy to say this? This is basically what I want to talk about, is the light heavyweight division, ever since John Jones has been there, has been for the most part, pretty non-competitive. And then we had the weird little stint where Jan Blachowicz was champ. He deserved it. He got his money, got his cash, but everybody knew it was kind of a weird situation because, like, it's just strange knowing that somebody else is the champ when you have a John Jones out there who is just leaps and bounds better than everybody else. So it's strange seeing a guy who is kind of a toss-up there in the division who went on a hot streak, seeing him being the champ. It's good for him. And we're seeing a similar kind of thing with Glover. Glover is fantastic. He put on an amazing performance against Jan, but I don't know. There's just so many good young contenders out there that you just believe are just, I don't know, ready to take the throne sooner than later. And so we obviously have here, okay, so let me lay out the picture for you. We got Jiri Prochazka obviously fighting Glover Teixeira. That fight's going to be extremely interesting, but looking at who's going to be next, it has to be Magomed Ankalaev. Am I crazy to say that? I know we've got obviously Jan Blachowicz up there still. We don't want a rematch in there between Glover or a fight against Jiri Prochazka. Doesn't really make any sense. And then we have Rakic, the fight between Blachowicz and Rakic. That was supposed to happen, but then obviously Blachowicz had to pull out with an injury. It was his hand or something. And then we have Lionheart Smith. Okay. Lionheart and Rakic. I think that is the fight to make. I am just really torn on what to do with Blachowicz. But then I really believe you give Ankalaev the next title shot. But then what do you do with the guys like Paul Craig and Jamal Hill? Jamal Hill, he deserves, and let me pull up the rankings really fast because Jamal Hill, as we've seen it with obviously in the light heavy in the heavyweight division with Taito Ivasa, let's shoot those guys up to the moon. If you believe that they can get the job done and you think that they're prepared and they're vets, by all means, shoot them to the top. And I have another interesting proposition that we'll talk about later that doesn't have anything to do with this fight card, but we'll talk about it. But Jamal Hill, would it be crazy to leapfrog him to 3 or 4 against Rakic or Anthony Smith? I don't think it'd be crazy. Maybe you give Jamal Hill Thiago Santos if he loses to Magomed Ankalaev. I don't know. But I really believe Jamal Hill, he gets people excited. He gets people out of his chairs. He gets people into the seats. He gets people literally out of their chairs because his last knockout was something unlike I've ever seen. But yeah, Magomed Ankalaev gets next title shot. Leapfrog Jamal Hill. Do something with Paul Craig. It's so weird because Paul Craig has beat Jamal Hill, and I believe he's beat Magomed Ankalaev. But Magomed gets the next title shot with a dub here. Let's talk about how this fight's going to go down, though, between him and Thiago Santos, because it's going to be, I think it honestly could be a little bit more difficult than people are expecting it to be, especially earlier in the round, especially when Thiago has more energy. It's going to be a striking fest, in my opinion. And then I can definitely see Magomed Ankalaev just ending up changing levels or later in the fight and just trying to grind out a victory. And then Manta's going to hop on the mic and he better call out Jiri Prochazka and Glover Teixeira because I feel like he should be next in line for sure, dude. But that's that for the light heavyweight division. Way more complex than people want to give it credit for. Way more interesting than... It's getting way more interesting, especially with all the young prospects and everything. So pumped about light heavyweight. Okay. And then I guess let's work our way down to the co-main. Co-main, equally as interesting, has just like, I don't know, there's just something about this fight that feels absolutely massive. You're basically cornering one of the toughest guys. You're backing him up into a corner and just seeing what he's going to do. Marlon Moraes. You're giving him a young contender in Song Yadong, but Marlon Moraes, we cannot forget that this man fought for a title against Henry Cejudo. This man has knocked out Aljamain Sterling, and as much as like the UFC, they have been cutting back, they have been cutting guys off. If Marlon Moraes loses this fight, I am going to be one of the biggest advocates for not cutting him. You should not cut this guy. His resume is fantastic. Like I was gonna say, like second to none, but there's some pretty decent resumes at bantamweight, especially now, because it seems like everybody you fight, no, even if they're not even ranked, they're almost household names at this point. But Marlon Moraes, you cannot cut him. He is so valuable to the division because he is such a good indicator at how good a guy is. Because like the Marlon Moraes versus Merab Dvalishvili fight could have went either way. Moraes had him on the ropes, and we could see Merab fighting for a title at any time. And it's just I don't know, dude. It's just the cardio factor. Like Marlon Moraes, he's built like an absolute superhuman, and for those first few minutes of that first round, he can battle with anybody. It's just how is he going to fare going deeper and deeper into a fight? But as a fight's beginning, he is one of the most dangerous 135ers on planet Earth, and I am going to be, like I said, the biggest advocate for not cutting him if he loses. That'll be like his fourth fight that I believe he's lost in a row if he does lose. But this fight for Song Yadong is going to be crazy. This is my pick for fight of the night for sure. Like besides the Guido Canetti fight, I mean, I could see this. The only reason I could see this not being fight of the night is just because there could be a finish way early in the fight. But as for it being a dud, don't think it's going to be one. But because I don't think anybody's going to get finished in the Guido Canetti fight. But the Song Yadong versus Marlon Moraes, this is the cash. Anytime Song Yadong is fighting, you have to tune in and watch. His front leg kick, head kick, his lead leg head kick is lightning quick, and that's basically what he got Julio Arce out with. These styles clash. It's just perfect. They're built similarly. They have the same kind of style where they can take you down, they can beat you up, but they also love to stand and bang, and they're very dynamic on the feet as well. So in terms of what's going to happen for Song Yadong, let me lay out the picture here. Song Yadong, he gets a win over Marlon Moraes here. Is it bad? I know it sounds a little bit like I'm a homer for Georgian fighters, but Song Yadong versus Merab Dvalishvili. Again, it would be setting Song Yadong up for success. I know he kind of had trouble against Kyler Phillips, and it doesn't really seem... It's just really strange how some guys can just... They keep their momentum and they keep going forward even though they have lost to a guy. Like, it's just so strange. Like, Kyler Phillips beat Song Yadong, and then he loses to Howley and Paiva. And then Song Yadong, he gets a couple wins, and then people just forget that Kyler Phillips even existed. Super strange. But Song Yadong versus Merab Dvalishvili, it'll be... If we want to fast-track Song Yadong into superstardom, that's going to be the way to do it, because I'm pretty sure Merab is number 6 at this point, and then Song, he's 14 or 15, and Marlon's like number 10. So if it makes sense, honestly. Like, if Song can get by Marlon, sure. It doesn't make sense for Merab, though, to look down... or to fight a guy down in the division. Maybe it could be a safer option, but either way, Merab's still going to have to fight somebody above him. That's why I'm looking at that Corey Sandhagen versus Merab Dvalishvili fight. But Song, if Song beats Marlon, I think you give him Merab. If Marlon loses, I think Marlon would be a perfect fit for Ricky Simon. And again, like I said, all this, what I'm saying, could end up being obsolete in like the snap of a finger, because literally there's new fights being announced all the time. But this is all obviously just speculation on my part. And I honestly, when I made my last episode, I didn't realize that Kevin Holland wanted to fight D-Rod. That was actually a name he called out. I just was looking through the top welterweights in the world, and I was like, dude, this is a stylistic heaven. This is a heaven matchup, like godsend. If Kevin could fight D-Rod, so I didn't know that. Didn't want to think I'm stealing from MMA Junkie or anything, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Marlon Moraes, if he wins, I have no freaking idea. He's in a really unique position though, where if he wins, he can save his career basically. And he's backed up against the corner, and this is a dangerous Marlon Moraes to get for Song Yadong. This is going to probably be the toughest, in considering his last fight out against Merab. It's a lot to say, but I think this could be the toughest Marlon Moraes we've seen. It's going to be like that Tyrone Woodley effect where he came out against Vicente Luque, where Tyrone looked the best he's had in a while. But yeah, Marlon, give him Ricky. If he wins, he stays safe. If he loses, please don't cut him UFC, because he's got so much gas left in the tank. And then Song Yadong, if he wins, give him Merab. If he loses, I don't know. Maybe do that rematch with Kyler Phillips or something. That'd be kind of sick. Or if Song Yadong wins, save him for the winner of Cheeto versus Font, and then potentially have Song Yadong versus Cheeto too. But we'll talk about that later. I don't know how that fight against Font versus Cheeto is going to go down. It's going to be super interesting. But yeah, that's that. So what we've talked about? We've talked about the light heavyweight division. We talked about obviously Song Yadong. Okay, let's get into what fighter is going to impress most this card. And I think the easy answer here is Drew Dober. He was going to fight at his original fight, I think, fell through. And then he's going to be fighting Terence Mckinney, and Terence McKinney is hitting the UFC by storm. Like, he is taking out, basically, he took out Matt Favola, and then he took out fantastic prospect in Faraz Siam super early in the first round. Both of them, he only has like 2 minutes and 7 seconds of total octagon time in 2 fights, which is insanity. But people are freaking about Drew Dober, dude. This guy can stand in there against, considering what I've seen Islam Makhachev do to other guys, like, Drew Dober did pretty freaking good. And then obviously he had to fight Brad Riddell, who Brad Riddell is, it takes a guy like Rafael Fiziev to get Brad Riddell out of there. So, but Drew Dober, this is going to be the toughest fight of Terence McKinney's career. Terence McKinney cannot overlook this guy. He's strong. He's built like an absolute ox, dude. He can stuff takedowns if he really has to. And then obviously, like we've seen, he stunned Brad Riddell. He can knock you out at any given moment. I really am high on Drew Dober, even though he is 33. I think he's really hitting his stride. He has lost his last 2 fights, but he is. When we talk about guys that are in that fast, quick, strong, I don't know. I think of like Drew Dober, Rafael Fiziev, and Brad Riddell, and like Arman Tsarukyan, all those kind of guys. I think of all of them in the same kind of category. And Drew Dober is. People cannot forget about this guy. As quickly as he did, like he did the UFC a favor against like the Makhachev fight, and then obviously Brad Riddell. It's fantastic. It was a fantastic fight for as long as it lasted, but it actually did last the whole time. But Drew Dober took some serious shots. I don't think Terence McKinney is going to finish Drew Dober here, but I really think Drew Dober is going to bounce back. I think he's going to. This could be the beginning of like a Drew Dober run, in my opinion. I think he's going to be. He's the dude to watch on this card in terms of a guy that's going to bounce back. Okay, then I guess my next favorite fight on the card, Alex Caceres, dude. His fight against Sung Woo Choi, didn't think he was going to get past Sung Woo Choi, but he ended up doing it. And now, what is he on, like a 5-fight win streak now in the featherweight division, which is fantastic. Love Bruce Leroy so much. He's on a 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he's on a 5-fight win streak. And he's fighting Sadiq. Sadiq had to fight Arnold Allen, who Arnold Allen his uppercut is so sick. And then his whole entire Arnold Allen's game all around is just fantastic. But Sadiq Youssef's going to be a tough out. He's so strong. This is a tough matchup for Alex Caceres, but I just think Alex Caceres can find a way, dude. I think he can find a way to get it done. And I know I sound like a homer here, but Caceres versus Chikazi. Oh, no, the winner of Caceres versus Sadiq, put him up against Giga. I think it would be a good matchup. It's a good matchup for Caceres because they're both kind of long guys, and if the fight gets to the ground, it could be in Caceres' favor. It's just a matter of getting it there because Giga, I don't know what Giga's suspension is like considering how much damage he took. And then in terms of like, I don't know if Sadiq will get that fight, but if Caceres can get the win here, there's something that Giga's got to take into consideration because in terms of how the Calvin Kattar fight went, this is going to be a easier fight for Giga, but still it's going to be really tough because Alex is a gamer and he just finds a way to find your back and choke you out or do something wild. And his stand-up is fun. Like, he can definitely hang with the best of the best. So I'm looking for Caceres versus Chikazi if Caceres can get past Sadiq. I don't know, though, if getting past Sadiq isn't even an option because he has the ability to turn your lights out. And no matter how the fight's going, Caceres could be doing really good, but all it takes is that one shot from Sadiq. So I don't know. But then we have Khalil Roundtree for Carl Robertson. I love Khalil Roundtree. Carl, watch out for your freaking legs because he's going to hit you with that like weirdo bleat kick thing. And then we talked about Terence McKinney versus Drew Dober. But then Bruno Silva versus Alex Pereira. This is like the match that everybody expected to happen. After Bruno Silva beat, was it Jordan Wright in Beverly Hills? Ninja or whatever. I think that was, yeah. Is it? Yeah, it was Jordan Wright. It's like, this is like a stylistic matchup for the ages because both of these guys are so long, 185ers. If there's anybody, and then obviously there's the whole myth. I mean, there's like the legend of Alex Pereira, the only guy that can beat Pereira, who can beat Israel Adesanya and stuff. But this fight's gonna be crazy. I'm thinking, I don't know, dude. Like Bruno Silva, both these guys have such long levers they can put your lights out. It's going to be a scrapper, definite sleeper fight on the card. But like, you never know. This is gonna end up being fighter than I could be so wrong on all the other picks that I have, but it could end up being just kind of a technical striking matchup where not a lot of output is thrown and then maybe get a finish here or there, but it's going to be crazy. Both these guys are so long. Like they can manage distance super well. So, and then as soon as he gets in the pocket, it's going to be 50-50. Whoever lands first wins. But Tejeda or Pereira, however you say it, I'm probably looking at him to get the dub, but Bruno Silva, he's looked really good lately. And then obviously Matt Semelsberger versus Aj Fletcher. Matt Semelsberger, dude, this guy, Semi the Jedi. His knockout against Martin Sano was insanity. Like, he landed that sucker right on the ear, I think, right? Yeah. Sano shouldn't even have been in there with him, but Matt Semelsberger, I'm looking for a KO for him. Julian Robinson for JJ Aldrich. It's a tough fight, dude. I'm going to go to JJ. And then I'm excited to see Javid Basharat versus Trevin 5-star. Trevin 5-star, this is going to be his first fight back since losing to Syed Yakub Kakramanov. But Basharat looked really good in his Dana White Contender Series fight. That was like, I think that was the one where like the guy called him like a terrorist or something. Super strange. But I'm excited to watch Basharat. Then Damon Jackson for Campbell Kirk. Campbell Kirk is a killer, but Damon Jackson, he can find the freaking he's the leech, dude. He can find a submission anywhere if it goes to the ground, even if it's a dirty fight. You know, he beat Charles Rosa, who Charles Rosa is fantastic. His only really loss since we've hit the year 2020 was against Ilya, and Ilya is pound for pound one of the best 145ers, or I guess he's gonna be a 155er now, maybe. So yeah. And then Sabina Maslova from Miranda Maverick. I'm interested to see how Miranda bounces back after kind of getting dominated by Aaron Blanchfield. That's crazy. Because like we've said, like Miranda Maverick, she is probably going to be one of the world flyweight championship contenders here in the near future, considering how young she is. Like, give her 3-4 years, she's going to be right up there. And yeah, like we got Cody Brundage good versus Dalkalujan Bula. It's going to be crazy. And then Guido Canetti, Chris Moutinho, and then Tafon Chukwu versus Azamat Murzakanov. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun night of fights, dude. And then, yeah, like big implications, like we've said, dude. And then also, I want to kind of get into some of the newly announced bouts. So it's going to be fun. But I got the text from my friend last night that we're going to see Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. It's going to be crazy, dude. Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chandler. Like, at first when I heard it announced, I instantly was thinking, like, Michael Chandler is going to finish Tony Ferguson. And that probably would be the case if this was, I don't know, 3 years prior. Like, if this was 3 years ago, I would definitely, or 3 or 4 years ago, I would definitely give Tony Ferguson the edge against Michael Chandler. But this is the thing. I think the UFC really is trying to set up Michael Chandler because they think they have more like, it's just really tough. I don't want to sound like disrespectful or anything, but Michael Chandler, I feel like he's got more to offer to the UFC right now in terms of challenging for a title. So they gave this fight to him for that reason. Because Tony Ferguson, I'm not going to count him out, dude. I don't want to count out Tony Ferguson just given the fact that he can do everything, and he sticks in the entire fight, and that gives him a chance. All 25 minutes. I mean, 24 minutes could be going the way for could be going Michael Chandler's way, and all it takes is one mistake from Michael Chandler to gas out or do something, and Tony Ferguson could be on his back and throw up a triangle or put him in a choke or something. But choking out Michael Chandler is going to be a tough task, considering man is built like an absolute tank. But yeah, I really believe this fight is just meant to keep Michael Chandler relevant in the lightweight division. It's gonna be from here on out for Michael Chandler, though, considering how many absolute slayers there are in lightweight. This is going to be Michael Chandler's. It's tough to say because Tony Ferguson, I'm not going to count him out at all, but this is probably going to be Michael Chandler's easiest test for the time being. This is because if Michael Chandler can get past him, it's gonna be Faziev, it's gonna be Armands, and it's gonna be Beneil Dariush's. It could be maybe a Conor. That would be crazy. I don't think that Conor versus Jorge Masvidal thing is going to happen. That'd be stupid. I just don't think that that's a smart matchup for Conor. Let's just put it this way. If Jorge connects on the chin of Colby, drops Colby, I just don't think Conor's going to be able to take that shot. Here's what I will say, though. I know that we're in the time of just popularity just shooting you up, but tell me what you guys think about this. Kevin Holland, okay, like we talked about, he beats Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Say he gets a fight with Daniel Rodriguez later in the year. He gets a fight with Daniel Rodriguez. If he can somehow find a way to get past D-Rod's boxing and D-Rod's power and D-Rod's takedown defense, get on the mic, call out Jorge Masvidal, because I'm not too convinced that Kevin Holland is... I'm not convinced that Jorge Masvidal can get Kevin Holland out of there easily. And honest to God, I know I've been harping on this the last episode too. Kevin Holland, he gets past... I really do think he gets past Leon Edwards. I think he gets past Vicente Luque. I know a lot of people are high on Vicente. I want Vicente to get a title shot. I want Vicente to become a champion. But I really do believe in Kevin Holland's ability to work his way up the rankings fast. And if you had a fight against Jorge Masvidal versus Kevin Holland, I'm really interested to see what the poll would be. I obviously don't have a ton of followers, so I can't do a poll yet, like on YouTube or something. But I want to know what people think, how that fight would go down, because I think Kevin's got an equalizing factor in his hands. He can keep people at distance. He could get cracked, but he recovers quickly. And if it goes to the ground, he can scramble back up to his feet. He's fighting smaller, lighter guys than he is at 185 pounds, and he's an absolute problem. So yeah, I think if he gets by a guy like D-Rod, he might have to fight one more time before he gets a top-ranked guy, but get on there and call out Jorge Masvidal. Jorge would be down. You don't have to worry about grappling. You don't have to worry about anything. Jorge, that would be... Because Kevin sells fights. Jorge sells fights. It would just be one of those super fight kind of deals. Like, just do it, dude. Out of all the fights, like Colby Covington versus Dustin Poirier, all these blah, blah, blah fights, like Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz, I would want to see a Jorge Masvidal versus Kevin Holland fight over all of those. As much as I want to see Conor McGregor fight again, I would rather see Kevin Holland fight Jorge than I would want to see Conor fight Jorge. Mostly because I love Conor, and I don't want to see him get knocked out again. But that brings up an interesting topic, though. Like, Conor, let's fight. Let's do the Nate Diaz trilogy. I think that's simple. I think you just got to do the Nate Diaz trilogy, and that's that. But as for circling back to the original topic, Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson, I'm taking Michael Chandler all day. Not going to count out Tony Ferguson, but UFC they know what they have in Michael Chandler, and they know what he brings to the table. Not going to count out Tony, though, dude. I can't keep saying that enough. And then obviously we have the Rob Font versus Marlon Vera. We mentioned this prior. Rob Font versus Marlon Vera. It's going to be a striking battle, and it's going to be fun. And Rob Font, he boxing so clean. Marlon Vera, stand up so freaking clean. Got those front kicks to the face, front kicks to the body, like teeps. I don't know. It's going to be fun, dude. I don't think that fight will go to the ground. Is there anything else? Just crazy topic. I don't know. Like Tai Tuivasa versus Stipe Miocic. Maybe that could happen. I don't know. Let's go on ESPN MMA, see if there's anything. All of the ESPN MMA stuff is literally just Jill Sonnen thinking Jorge versus Conor. I don't think that's the move. It's a big money maker, dude. I don't know. But yeah. Oh, Robert versus Vettori. That could be crazy. Robert Whittaker versus Marvin Vettori. That's something to look out for. But yeah. Fun, exciting times, boys. Is there anything else, yeah. Hopefully some of my stuff, I've made a lot of predictions today. Hopefully some of the things actually come to fruition. I want to look at the UFC rankings really quickly because I want to just see what's there. So we got, okay, if we were to restructure the rankings though for lightweight, what would it be? So we've got Gaethje at 1, Poirier 2, 3, Islam 4, Dariush 5, Chandler. I think that's right. Then you got 6, Dos Anjos, 7, Tony Ferguson, 8, Dan Hooker, 9, Gillespie, 10, Connor. You know, I'm probably going to have to say that I would take Tony Ferguson, Dan Hooker, and Conor McGregor. Greg Gillespie's pretty solid, but I would take Tony Ferguson, Dan Hooker, Conor McGregor, and swap that with Fiziev, Armand, Mateusz, Braverdale. There's killers coming up. That is so scary. That's like looking out in the ocean and seeing a freaking shark with its fin coming towards you, dude. There is some serious slayers coming out, and lightweight is going to be so much fun. Same with basically every other division, I guess. Yeah, craziness. Okay, guys, thank you so much. This is around 30 minutes long. So many fun fights. I'll think of more, and I just love to say like I told you so. But yeah, like I just get so excited when they announce fights and it's something that I actually predicted, even though my guesses are usually pretty relatively educated. But you know, we can be more. I feel like this tied to Ivasa kind of thing is just kind of making people be more optimistic with what can happen, because you can be a number 10, 12, 13 spot, and if you have enough hype behind you, we're going to throw you up in the top 5, and that's what's going to happen with like Hamzat too. Like there's going to be some crazy matchups here soon, and it's going to be fun stuff. Rankings, sooner or later, the rankings aren't going to mean jack, because as we've seen in bantamweight, the difference between a guy like Adrian Yanez, who isn't even ranked, and a guy that's in the top, I don't know, like 8 to, I don't know, like top 12 to 8. Those guys are all like pretty similar. The only difference is like maybe one key name. And that's, like I said, with Ricky Simone, if he can beat a Marlon Moraes or something, that could propel him right into the top 5 too. So, or right in the top 10. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I hope to get this episode out. And then I want to do a post-fight episode on Saturday. So yes, thank you so much. Bye-bye.